for this cake, we're going to spray a 13 by 9 inch glass pan with baking spray. And then we're going to make the crumb topping first. So in a small bowl, you're going to add in 3/4 cups of packed brown sugar. And I just used light brown sugar. Then you're going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, a ½ teaspoon of salt. And then you're just going to whisk it around, and I just used a fork to do that. And now you want to add in cold unsalted butter, a ½ cup, and I just chopped it up in small little chunks. And then just use your fork to kind of mash it around within the dry ingredient mixture. Just add the butter as you go. And then just use your fork again to kind of mash it up as well as you can. I ended up having to use a little plastic bag over my hand as the sort of makeshift glove, but you can sort of use that to help you mash up the butter a little bit better. You want it to be a crumbly mixture. And then you can just take an electric mixer and mix it up a little more if you need to. Just cover it and then pop it in the fridge while you make the rest of the cake batter. So next we're going to make the cream cheese mixture, and you're going to add 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese, and I just used room temperature cream cheese here. Then you want to add in 1 large egg, a ½ cup of granulated sugar, and then just use your mixer to mix it up, and you want it to be really smooth. Now, one thing to note is that if you're going to make the actual cake batter right after this, then you don't want to pop this in the fridge because you want this to be room temperature when you add it to the top of your crumb cake. So if you're going to wait until later on in a couple of hours to actually bake the cake, then you can pop it in the fridge. So for the cake batter, we're going to add in 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Make sure to measure the flour correctly. You want to spoon it into your measuring cup and then level off the top. You don't want to scoop your measuring cup into the flour mixture because that will be adding too much flour to your cake batter. Then we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, a ½ teaspoon of salt, and then 1½ cups of granulated sugar. And you just want to mix this up. So now for the liquid ingredients, in another bowl you want to add 1 cup of buttermilk. And real buttermilk is best here if you can get it. You want to also add 2 eggs, and I just used large eggs, and then 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. And then 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste or vanilla extract. Don't worry if you can't find the vanilla bean paste, extract will work just fine. And then just take a whisk and whisk everything up until it's really smooth. So now back to the dry mixture you mixed up earlier. Just turn your mixer on if you have a stand mixer. If you don't worry, you can still use a hand mixer for this next part. But you're going to slowly add in 3/4 cups of unsalted butter, and you want the butter to be almost room temperature. You don't want it to be too warm because it won't work correctly. So you want to add it a little bit at a time to the dry mixture. What you want is a mixture that is kind of a sand-like texture. So it's crumbly, but it's more of a finer texture than just regular crumbly. You want it sort of a sand texture. So once you get it to that point, you're going to add in half of your liquid mixture. And then you want to mix it well for about a minute. It's going to fluff up on you. Then you want to add in the last portion of the liquid mixture. And now this time when you mix, you don't want to mix for a full minute. You only want to mix just until everything is well combined. At this point, if you mix too long, it's going to make your cake really rubbery and sort of stiff and dense. So now just mix until you get everything just well mixed together. So you want to add it to your prepared pan, and the batter is going to be a little bit thick, but that's okay. Just add it all to your pan and then smooth it around. So now you want to take your cream cheese mixture and just spoon it over the top. Doesn't need to be any kind of fancy way, just spoon it on there. And then you want to take a knife and just sort of swirl it around a few times. Try not to touch the bottom of the pan when you swirl it around because you've already sprayed your pan with non-stick spray. You don't want to mess that up. So just kind of swirl around as best you can a few times to get the cream cheese mixture in there really good. And then you want to take your crumb mixture that you made earlier and then just sprinkle it all around the top evenly. And now you want to bake it in a preheated oven. Make sure it's preheated to 350 degrees, and you're going to bake it for about 45 to 50 minutes. So if you notice that the top of your cake is browning too quickly before the rest of the cake is fully baked, just take a piece of foil and drape it over the top, maybe during the last 10 minutes of baking. And then when the cake is ready, you can just pull the piece of foil off and then take the cake out of the oven and place it on a rack to cool. And you do want this cake to cool about an hour before serving it. I hope you loved this one, and I will see you next time.